Three blind girls chat everything periods when you can't see them, leaking in your boyfriend's bed, mooncups, and more awkward moments. Next. Grab a cup of tea and let's chat disability. And welcome back to my channel. Today we're chatting everything blind people and periods, and if you're not new here you will know that I have done a video like this before, so it will be linked on screen right now and also in the description box below, so check that out after you've watched this video. I have two lovely ladies here with me today, Holly and Chloe. They are quite big in the blind community, two activists. Second to none, their activism is amazing. They write such beautiful words and I always read their blogs. So their links will be in the description box. Please check them out after this video. They have agreed to chat to me. They're in their own homes on Skype right now and we're going to just chat, have a bit of a girly heart to heart about how we deal with periods when you can't see them, because sometimes it can be a bit of a complex world to navigate. So this is going to be a really interesting chat, so stay tuned. Let's chat to them now. We've got the lovely Holly Took, Life of a Blind Girl. Hello, Holly.
Hi. And
we've got the lovely Chloe Tare. Hello, Chloe. All of their links are in the this description box right now, so please pause the video if you need to, look at these lovely ladies, all of their social media handles and what they do, because their activism is just second to none. And this is why I thought they were the perfect girls to chat maybe a slightly taboo topic, because, you know, you guys know how I like to just chat about my period online, but I've just roped two other girlies in as well. So, guys, what was your first experience of your period like, and also was it sort of weird for you because you couldn't see it? Let's go to Chloe first.
So I only started to lose my sight 3 years ago, so I initially could see when I first started my period, but due to my other disability of cerebral palsy, it's quite common that we start really early. So I was in year 5, which is so early, but then I had 2 years where I didn't have one, so it's been quite uncertain from the get-go, really.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously transitioning to, you know, eyesight where you could see your period, and then now suddenly having to adapt to that, how has that been for you, hun?
I think I've been able to kind of use my knowledge of when I could see, but I've also, since losing my sight, been on the pill, and that's just changed my period entirely. So it has been very different and just kind of having to get on with it, really.
Yeah, I mean, Holly, what was your first experience like as well? Was it similar to Chloe's, different? How would you describe it?
I was 11 when I started mine, and because I've been blind since birth, it was kind of I just had to adapt straight away. But obviously kind of when you're at school, and I went to a mainstream school, so there was nothing kind of on having a visual impairment and a period, there was kind of no one really discussed that kind of thing, so in a way you're kind of thrown into this new world of oh, what do I do now? Because you kind of I've got to adapt straight away. So I think it was a bit scary, but at the same time I knew it was going to happen, so I just kind of had to get myself to the thinking point of, right, how am I going to manage this? What am I going to do?
What was the education like at school, Hol?
We did have education on periods and stuff, and obviously your average kind of PSHE, I think it's called, and so we discuss kind of periods and everything in that, which I don't think all schools do, so obviously we are quite lucky to have done that. So I did have some knowledge, but obviously it wasn't specific to visual impairment, so it was more just kind of managing a period, which I obviously adapted to my needs. So I was right, this is what I taught, and then obviously I have a close relationship with my family, so it was nice to be able to discuss it with my mum, and it's kind of something that women go through, so obviously that can be quite scary, but I think it's important to do that because you know that you're not on your own.
Yeah, I'm so close to my mum in that way, and I think it's really good to have their support when you can't see your period. I don't know, I just see it as something that happens every month. It's really normal. I mean, I remember feeling sick to my stomach when I was, because obviously I lost my eyesight later on, well, a little bit later on when I was 16, 17, and I remember being in drama class actually and me leaking, but me feeling like I was leaking, but me not knowing, and I was like, I can't ask anyone in here. I knew I had white trousers on as well, so it's like the worst thing. I was like, right, I think I just need to say that I've got a tummy ache or something. And I remember my mom picking me up and me being in the school car park like, Mom, look at my butt. I know that's a weird thing to say, but look at it. Have I leaked? And she was like, no, Luce, I don't know what you're feeling, but I think it was just that anxiety I was having. Like, honestly, most of the time I had my period for about 6 months, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm leaking. And I'm not even that heavy, but I mean, were you like that, Chloe? Yeah, were you?
Yeah,
so paranoid. Like, you know, it's like silly things like, I think, like, when I had sight, when you stand up, you subconsciously check the chair you've just been sat on. You know, and it's like to not know, and then I have quite a heavy flow, so it is something I'm really mindful of anyway. But yeah, you just never know, and that's like, I'm always kind of paranoid that it's happened.
Oh my gosh, same. I mean,
Yeah, same.
Yeah, are you, Hol? Are you quite heavy?
Yeah, I did used to be like really heavy, but then I kind of had like health problems like thyroid and anemia and stuff, and then that kind of helped sort it out in a way. But it did used to be like really bad, and that kind of, once I found the balance, it was fine. But before that, I kind of got like really anxious about it and was like, oh no, I'm gonna leak, oh what if I've leaked? And now I've adapted to it, and I think as I've grown up and adjusted to, you know, a teenage life and then life within your 20s with a visual impairment, the more I've kind of understood my visual impairment, got more independent over the years and gone on that journey, I think the more it's made me adapt to having sight loss and a period. Like, it's definitely helped. So I think the more I've grown as a person, the more that's helped me figure out my body and when I've got a period and that kind of thing. But I think as well, it's just kind of knowing the signals and knowing the signs. So if you know yourself, have control over that, and it helps.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I can feel it. I know I'm just putting it out there quite blunt, but I can genuinely feel it at the start of my period. Also, I get so ratty. Ollie will vouch for this. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, same.
I just get really bad cramps, and I'm kind of like over cautious, you know, like I might not have one for like 3 days, but there's a pad there just in case.
I do overpad, has to be said. Like, what do you use then? If a blind girl or a blind person who has periods is watching this right now, what do they use if they've got a heavy flow? Because I just go 2 pads in there, I'm shameless. What do you guys do?
I will use pads, and I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of about that, because I just find that easier, and if that works for me, then, you know, I've got full control of that, and it means that I can be independent and manage my period in the best way that I can. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and if we use more pads, then, you know what, does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? No, it doesn't.
What about you, Chloe?
I've used like a big variety of things, I think, over the years. When I was like a teenager, I used tampons and a pad, you know, just to be extra safe. And then when I started on the pill, it like changed. So now I just tend to use pads, but I used night pads all the time, just for like that extra reassurance, really.
Yeah.
Don't you think it has to be with wings, though?
Oh,
Anything without wings, I'm like, oh, it might go overboard. You just don't know. That just gives me anxiety.
Don't even go there.
Yeah, do not even go there. It's just not an option without wings.
No.
What are your strategies for leaking? Because I've leaked, and I'm sure both of you have. Yeah. Holly, what have you done when you've leaked before? Is it a crisis sitch, or what are you doing when you've got that leak, girl?
I think I have, obviously, it's kind of only natural to panic. So obviously I have panicked before, but the older I got, the more I was like, you know what, it's nothing to do with like my blindness, just it happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make sure that, you know, I can change my pants if I need to, if I'm really paranoid, change whatever I'm wearing, like get a new pair of leggings or whatever, put some more pads in, and you sort it. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh yeah, I have leggings and a spare pair of pants in my bag. I don't know whether that's paranoid, but I don't care. I'm blind, you know. If it makes me feel better and it makes me have a better day, then who's judging, you know? What about you, Chloe?
Exactly.
What have you done?
Like, I think it's a lot easier if you're at home and you're on, because it's, you know, it's a lot more relaxed, I think. But if I'm like out and about, it's loads of pads, spare knickers, get the paracetamol, you know, like, and I just go to the toilet a lot.
Yeah.
And I think even like stupid things, like I've leaked before onto like jeans and not had any, like, changed my underwear but not had like any spare jeans, and it was even a case of like tying my hoodie around my waist. I was like, you know, like, even though I technically didn't have to do that, that just made me feel a bit better, and, you know, that it doesn't look like I'm covering something up, but it also was just a bit reassuring as well.
Yeah.
Have you guys used any other period products? Like, I've got some period pants in there and I am scared to use them. I'm going to do a video on it soon. So, guys, if you're watching, please do check out that when it uploads. But have you guys tried anything different, like a Mooncup?
So I'm like really intrigued about period pants, because I think if they work, they would be a lifesaver. But, you know, like, I'm a bit like cautious about using one. I do have a Mooncup and I have used one, and I actually got on really well with it. But again, like, since being on the pill, it's just kind of not possible anymore. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like changed my relationship with my period, kind of being on the pill, but prior to, I found it quite easy, and even from a visually impaired point of view, because you have to tip it out, you kind of know how much, like, more so than it, like, on a pad. So
Actually, I guess you're feeling it more, aren't you?
Well, yeah, like, you know if you tip something out, vaguely how much is in there. So I did tend to empty it, like, more than you should. Like, you're meant to be able to, like, leave it in for like 12 hours, and that side kind of freaked me out, especially because I'm quite heavy.
Yeah. But have you got a time period as well, Holly? Like, how many hours would you leave a pad on, or do you just know how much is on there?
I can always kind of tell now, but I think before I was like really paranoid. I was like, I'm gonna have to change it like really quickly, like within, you know, a few hours, and probably I didn't need to do that, but I think I was kind of like, no, I've got to do that now, it needs to be done. But I kind of, over the years, I've got to know, but I still am like, if I'm doing something or at work or going somewhere, I'll be like, oh no, I've got to change it, because you never know, do you? Just better to be safe, I think.
Well, yeah, if in doubt, over change. That's what I would say. Just have loads
definitely.
in your bag. Don't be ashamed to do that. And I think, Chloe, it's really interesting that you say your pill has changed things, because when I started to get anxious about my period, I did migrate over to the pill, also for contraceptive reasons, but I thought, wow, I can take this for however long. I think it's 21 days, isn't it? And then you have that gap that, you know, as a blind girl, if you're anxious or you just lost your sight, it's coming in those days. So there's, you know, no two ways about it. Art flow's arriving, whether you like it or not, in that window. Are you finding that it's always coming in that window, or is it going out, and is it lighter?
It is lighter, definitely. And I think I've like been on the pill for just over 6 months, maybe even 9 months actually. And I found that it tends to be like, when I stop the pill, I've got 4 days until it arrives. So it has like really sorted it out in terms of timescale, because it was quite varied before. But I also think it's made it less heavy, but it's made it, I don't even know how to describe this.
No, go for it.
But like thinner.
Yes, I know what you
Yeah, makes
mean.
sense.
which means that I leak easier, which is terrifying.
No, I get
But
you.
then it's like the upside of it not being as heavy, and I use it because of how heavy I was, but also for contraceptive reasons. So,
Mhm.
you know, I can't imagine not being on it now, because it is a lot less painful. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
been something to adapt to.
I found that actually with the pill when I was on it. I would think I was on it for about 6 years, and I got used to it. But I did get quite a lot of acne,
Yeah.
and I found myself, I don't know, towards the end, getting it slightly lower. But I couldn't necessarily pinpoint that on my pill. Maybe I was just, not having my therapist as often as I needed to. So you can't always point to the pill. But I know what you mean. I know that people say different things about that. Holly, have you ever been on the pill, hun?
No, I haven't. It's something I did consider at one time, but no, I personally haven't. Maybe I
Mhm.
will, who knows, but kind of see, what the future holds.
Yeah.
But no, right now I haven't.
Have you tried any other period wear?
No, I did look at the period pants, but I'm kind of a bit like you. I was a bit like, oh, I'm a bit scared, and what if it doesn't work? And I just,
Yeah.
no, I haven't, but I might consider it. It's something I have looked at, and I've kind of done a bit of research, but then I've never kind of gone forward and bought any.
Mm.
I think
And-
because they're
yeah.
quite expensive, it's almost an investment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're not really sure, they are quite expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got them as a present. My best friends, my two-sided best friends, are really into it, and I just haven't done it yet. I'm just feeling really like, oh, I don't know. Also, I don't know. I'm so used to pads, and I'm so used to bleeding onto pads, and having, because I've had so much anxiety about periods before, I just haven't gone there. But I will do it. I'll do it soon. But can we tell more? I mean, I know people have probably asked you both this as well, but can you tell more that you're starting your period because you smell it? Or is that just a myth? Hull.
I more go on like the signs and the signals of like my body. So no, I guess some people do that, but personally, I found like the signs and the signals to be the way that I can tell.
Yeah. Do you
And
ever
I
feel
guess-
like you need multiple ways to tell though?
Sometimes I guess if I'm like not sure, but I more kind of go on like the signs and the signals of my body, and if I get a stomach ache, and if you know, you can usually tell that it's coming, so you just pop a pad in and that's fine.
Yeah. What about you, Chloe?
I think like the smell is actually really important. Like, I don't know about you, but we've all been sat there and we're like, oh my god, I've started. And
Yeah.
you run upstairs and actually you haven't. Like, happens so often. So like, I think in that instance, like, the smell of it is important. And
I think you
know-
can always tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when I think I've started, I run to the loo and I'm like, I can't smell anything. I can smell a little bit of the difference. I know what discharge is versus period. And I think also, that it's heavier somehow. I don't know, or do you think it's something instinctively we just know as women? I don't know. Do we have to
Yeah.
see it?
We just have that inkling.
I think you can just, it's instinct.
Yeah. And period apps. Hol, you mentioned it a bit earlier, that there's not really any accessible ones. So you use your calendar. Chloe, what do you do?
I use my calendar.
Yeah.
Like, well, even if it's not like, it used to be like when I started and stuff, but now it's like, you start the pill, you end the pill, and then I do know it's in that window, and then also like just remembering to start the pill again after 7 days, because sometimes I'm not quite finished, so yeah, it's just about like having those reminders really.
Yeah. Are you like a heavy period tracker? Because I would say that when I get stressed, my period goes away. So this month, because of lockdown and everything, going to be quite open, I've been like, oh my gosh, life isn't normal, what the hell? My period came after 6 weeks, so I was like wearing those pads. I probably wasted a whole pack of sanitary towels, and that's not good to say on the environment, but anxiety and everything. Yeah, I did, because sometimes I can't tell with discharge, and if I think it's coming, it's, you know,
You're
I want to
gonna
be prepared. You know.
Yeah, you need to be prepared,
So-
and you want to be.
Have you with hot I know you're a bit more regular, Chloe, but with the pill, but Hol, have you ever had the time where you've wasted a whole pack of period pads like me? I don't know. Make me feel
definitely.
better.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And it still happens, and that is like, I'm just kind of like, you know what, that's fine. It's
Yeah.
not for the environment, but in my mind, for me, it's fine.
Yeah, no, same, hun. If you were to talk to your past self, and anyone watching this video who hasn't yet started their period or is worried about having a period when they're blind, what are a few things that you would say to them for reassurance, and what's the first thing you would say as a piece of advice? Holly, let's go to you.
So the thing that I'd say for reassurance is know that it's only natural and it's going to be okay. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of, so take it in your stride. Be proud of it in a way, because it happens to every woman, so take pride in that and think, you know what, I'm growing up and that is absolutely fine, but don't be ashamed of it, and just, you know, take it as an opportunity to learn about yourself. The piece of advice is, there's kind of two here, but they kind of link into one. Firstly, use something simple like tracking it on your calendar on your phone. If you can use a tracking app and you find that works for you, then that's fine, but I haven't found one that's fully accessible, so I just use the kind of old method of using my iPhone calendar. And also find products that work for you, so that you kind of can keep track of that and you don't have to worry about getting the ones that work for you at the time, and just know the signs and signals.
Yeah. Get that big old list of all your signs and signals, because they'll be different for all of us.
Yeah.
And you'll know there's not just the visuals of looking in a pad to know whether you're PMSing. Ollie will definitely vouch for that one. What about you, Chloe?
I think my reassurance would be that as you get older, it gets easier. You know, like, I remember, like, being a teenager and being quite uncomfortable about the whole thing. But my tip is almost like to embrace it and talk about it. Like, I found it was like in uni, really. We started talking about it and, you know, like discussing like Mooncups and things like that. And it was a case of, well, no shame whatsoever. You know, in my house, you know, house of 3 women, we're all quite open, you know, even if it's a case of just started. Bit rubbish, isn't it? You know, like, get the chocolate in. But I think, you know, that helps to kind of have that open kind of discussion. You know, I know not everyone can have that, but even just to find, you know, a friend, an auntie, you know, if you don't have that at home, I think that openness is really important, and it does kind of take away the stigma.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, even though I didn't have anyone around me for quite a while who wasn't going through it blind, because I had that outlet and I could say to Ollie, oh my gosh, I'm PMSing, or my mom, like, oh, you get it, or my sister, you know, it really does matter, I think. It really
definitely.
does.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you don't have someone that's going through who's blind like you are, there's other people like your family or your friends that can relate in different ways, although they can't relate to the blindness aspect. They can relate to just the kind of general, you know, the overview.
Definitely.
Even just if you sat there for crying for no reason whatsoever, you know, like, to just sit there and say, I don't know why I'm crying, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't know about you, but if you try and hold it in, it just doesn't work, and I think it's just better to get it out. And I don't know, like, I know it's going to happen. There's going to be one day where I'm just an emotional mess and just got to live with it.
Yeah, definitely. Put your helmet on, everyone.
Have a good cry.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, any happy period anecdotes? Both of you, Chloe, have you got anything else to add? We exhausted
just
it all.
deciding whether I want this to go on the internet. But then I was like, but, you know, I'll go for it. So, like, had my first boyfriend when we were in uni. We're still together, and I'd never stay over at his when I was on.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
like
that makes
really
sense.
didn't get that. He was like, "I'll buy sanitary towels." I was like, "No." He's like, "No, it's fine." Because we were like living in halls at the time, I'd like stay quite late and then always go back to mine, and he was always like really confused, like, what? And now we've been together longer, and I go and stay at his in London. Obviously, there have been many times that I've been on and been there.
Yeah.
But because I was so heavy, I was just so paranoid to leak all over his bed.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just wouldn't let myself stay there if I was on or if I knew I was coming on, because I was like, first boyfriend, it's only been a few months. Like,
Yeah.
well, even when it was up to a year, I was like, don't really want to do that, because it's
Yeah.
mortifying enough to wake up and find you've done it on your own bed, never mind someone else's. And I
Yeah.
always had white sheets, so I was like, nope.
You know what? I think that's a really real fear of mine too, Close. I'm so glad you've added it to the convo, because I actually put a towel underneath my sheet, because obviously me and Ollie have been living together donkey's years now. So you know, but I still don't want to like ruin our bed or whatever. Not that it's ruining it. It's natural. It's nature, whatever. But it's, you know, for us blind girls, it's harder to remove as well, and that whole thing just fills me a little bit with anxiety even now. I don't know about you guys. What do you do, Hol?
I guess are we more paranoid because you can't see it?
Yeah, I have
So
like
maybe.
2 night pads in as well.
Yeah, I'll always make sure I use the night
That
ones
is
because
prepared.
it's just you got
Yeah.
to use them, I think.
I think I'm just OCD in normal life, and then I just translate that to my period.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but when I am on, I do not sleep because I'm so paranoid. Like,
Do you? Yeah.
That's
like,
interesting.
like I normally sleep right through, very rarely go to the toilet in the middle of the night. But if I'm on and I'm in my boyfriend's bed, I'm going like 5 times a night just
Yeah.
to make
Just to
sure.
change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's like the start of it, I'm like waking up constantly, and it's like, you didn't sleep last night, did you? And I'm like, no, but it's okay.
Oh, bless you.
It's fine.
You know what? I think that's so honest of you to share, Chloe, because I think a lot of people who are blind in new relationships and have period time of the month to deal with, you know, you are going to be anxious about that at the end of the day in a new relationship, and I think
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
other women are with heavy flows and things, but you know, there is that heightened anxiety, isn't there, with everything when you're blind in some aspects, when you do them for the first time or you're doing something new, like going out the front door, we've got to learn a mobility route, and that's quite stressful, and I just feel like our stress is slightly heightened with all these experiences, and it's just bedding them down. And I'd say after a year of most things in blind life, I'm kind of a bit better and can settle into it. But I think with a period, because it's a bit unpredictable in the nighttime and you can't necessarily control the way you're turning when you sleep, yeah, it's putting those measures in, isn't it, hun?
Definitely.
Alrighty, we've exhausted the topic, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you do want to hear more from Chloe and Holly, please check in their description box. They are very fabulous for coming on our channel, so thank you so much, girlies. I really appreciate it. If you want another video on periods and you want them back, tell them in the comments. I'm sure they'd love to know. If we've missed anything, please let us know too. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next week for a new one. Bye guys!
Bye.
Bye.